everyone, my name is Kiana Saldanha and I'm 10 years old. Now I'm going to tell about myself. I used to stay in Kundapur, but then I came to Chennai. Now I'm living in Chennai for about 10 years and Chennai is really good. Now I'll tell about my favorite things. My favorite sport is football. My favorite book, I can't decide. All are my favorites. All books are so good that I can't even choose one to be my favorite. My favorite hobbies are swimming, dancing, singing and painting. And doing a few arts and crafts. And my favorite TV shows are the series of Unfortunate Events, the 000 Squad, the Full House, then a lot more. Now I'm going to tell about my bookshelf. Okay, so this is my bookshelf. I got a lot of items over here. Here is Famous 5, The Naughtiest Girl, Secret 7 and The Find Outers. And over here I have Geronimo Stilton, Nancy Drew, Timmy Failure, Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Harry Potter. Those are my main favorite books. Well, the types of books I have are mysteries, adventures, magic, fantasy. There's so many to choose. And the types of books I like are mostly mysteries and adventures. And the types of mysteries I like, crimes. Anyways, now I'm going to read a chapter. My favorite book authors are J.K. Rowling, Caroline Keene, Jeff Kinney, Elizabeth Adami and Enid Blyton. I have a lot of favorite authors. That's because all of their plots are so good that there's no point in choosing just one book. You have to choose a lot. Now, my first book. Well, I started somewhere in January and it took a lot of time. A lot of concepts came through, but some got rejected and only a few concepts which were good enough made it into my first book. That's because some of the concepts could be like a dragon. Some concepts weren't nearly as good, but most of the concepts in my book, I had looked over them again and again. As you know, I released my first book in April, somewhere around 14, and it actually happened in midnight. Now, you know the author's first feeling when your first book gets published? Well, that happened to me, but you should remember that not all first feelings are the same. So, my first feeling was joyful, happiness, I couldn't even sleep. Now, my book's characters have 8 main ones. All of them are unique in each other's way, but mostly I think Samantha is the one that stood out. She recruited later. She knew a lot about the mysterious 8 and she was the one who was confident and wanted to keep going when all had been lost. And Lucy is like, she loves gardening. She's the type of character you'd want to be friends with if you have like love gardening. And if you want like a friend like that, you have to be really into gardening. Lucy is kind, but she's also a little bit what to say, nice. But there are some times when she's the one who's like standing up for herself as well as others. Then Ben and Jimmy, they're almost like twins. You could say they're like blood brothers. But it's a good thing Jimmy got with Becca and Ben became alone. Because if Jimmy and Ben were together, they are both pranksters and tricksters. Both are the same. But if they were together, then there would be a major cause that would prevent everything from happening in the mysterious way. And Becca, she's the one who doesn't like all those pranks, but when they helped them to escape, she was really glad of it. Now, Becca is the one you could say like the older sibling, the one who's always serious and all. But she's not really like that, only a few times when they really need it. But mostly she's nice, confident, just as same as Samantha, I guess. And Luna and Dean, they're twins, but they argue a lot, just like siblings. Well, Luna and Dean have a lot of similarities, like their hair color, eye color, freckles. Their freckles are like identical to each one. But Luna is more like go with the flow, but Dean wants to like cook his way out. That's why he got a potion making. Then, Tam. Now you would want to know why I gave him the remembering potion. It's because Tam is like forgetful. He forgets everything. He forgets the password. He forgets, well, everything except for his name. Well, when I gave you his description in the ebook, you'd have seen a forgetful twinkle in his eye, right? Well, that's because of his forgetfulness. Tam is more like the friend you have who forgets everything, including subjects and all. Well, Tam is normally like the forgetful person in the crew, but if you really want to know about him, well, he's nice, he's remarkably good in mysteries, but there's only one major disruption about him. He forgets everything. Now, when I did the editing, or rather my dad helped me with the editing, well, I had to go a lot of progress with it. First, I wrote in a diary, pen and paper, the originals. And there was a lot of striking out, rewriting and all. It was a painful time. But then, after finishing the diary type, I moved on to the digital type. Well, I started writing in the computer and then, oh no, computer was like, oh my god, it was amazing. Writing your first book, adding spice to it, adding so many twists and turns and fantasy and mystery and adventure. It was like a major block of ice cream and the result was like a brain freeze. Whenever I stopped writing, my flow had been cut out. So I had to go with the flow like, just like Luna. So, like every time I went with the flow, something kept happening. I stopped in the middle. Now, here's a small tip. Never stop in middle or never get distracted while writing a book, Because if you get distracted, like 1 minute you are looking into the computer, next minute you turn your head, the next minute after you turn your head, you forget what you are writing about. That's what happened to me most of the time. Then, anyone have some questions? Okay. Okay. So, I'll do the questions later if you have. Now I'll read a chapter. It's called Back in Time. It's actually my favorite chapter because wow, Norman times. Okay, chapter 6, Back in Time. The next morning, Samantha went to get out the map out of the shed as she wanted to pore over the map to see if there was anything she did not notice the other day. When she came around the corner, the first thing she saw was the shed door open and the map had gone. She immediately called Becca. Becca was astonished that they had lost the map, and she could not believe that. She went to see if it was true. Samantha was upset when she saw the shed ruffled up. Well, Samantha is a bit of a cleaner. She was in the middle of tidying up when the rest of the team came to her shed. Now you know I was telling the truth, said Luna to Dean, who was looking ashamed. Okay, sorry, snapped Dean. They were upset at first because they thought that they could not have the mystery or go on with it, but suddenly Jimmy started laughing. He said that they still had the map. Everyone was puzzled. They asked how, and Jimmy reminded them that they still had the traced map, and the room brightened up a little. Ben was so happy that he rushed outside and bought 16 bottles of lemonade. He told 2 bottles for each. Shortly, they had run out of lemonade and were devastated until Samantha's mother bought them 8 bottles of orangeade for being very quiet when she had guests for lunch. Samantha got out the map from her bedroom and pored over it. Soon something unusual caught her eye. Right below the letters HDR was something written in Latin. None of them were very good at Latin. Suddenly, Lucy remembered that her sister Ethel was really good at Latin, so she suggested that they ask her what it meant. Subsequently, they went to Lucy's house. Ethel wasn't pleased that they disturbed her by shouting at the window, but as soon as she heard speed Latin, she told them the meaning was that in a certain place, that certain place had 3 traps and they had to not fall in one. But until then, Dean had the idea to use his potion making set and try and go back into the time where the treasure map was being made by using a small piece of parchment. Dean started preparing the potion, but when he finished, he accidentally added a pinch of cardamom black pepper. When they tried it, they went back into the Norman times. Oh, what will they do now? Is it the right period we moved back in? They all thought. They tried to make Dean remember what he added in the potion, but he could not remember. So that was chapter 6. Now as you see, chapter 6 was a little... That's when they were confused, happy and all in the same chapter. But now it's time to answer the questions. So any questions? Wait, let me see the questions. Okay, what inspired me to write a book? Well, I guess it was reading other great authors' stories that made me feel like I wanted to write one as well. Oh my God, I really want to write one. that reaction was the main reaction in my head after reading so many stories. So I started with short stories, small ones like My Family, The Chocolate Factory and all. But then I had the idea. If I can write short stories, why can't I write a slightly longer one? Well, that's when I came up with the concept for the Mysterious Eight. Now, there's this common phrase like, you reap what you sow, right? Well, I sieve the concept of the book and what the total of what I got, the fruit of the plant was my book. So a book is like you basically take a few concepts, jumble them up, make a few chapters, put them together, get a nice fantasy. Well, sometimes there's a little bit of tweaks. You have to write them out, you have to change a few things, you have to make it interesting. That's what we do when we all want to write a better essay for school, right? Now, next question. What do you expect from your readers to gain from your book? Well, I expected my readers to gain from the book that friendship is really important, as the 8 characters show. Then, never stop believing in what you can do and start, let's just say, inspiring others too. Okay, next thing I expect my readers from the book was to actually learn more words, extra imagination and all. Okay, next question. When did you first realize you wanted to be a writer? Well, 2 years back. I just kept having ideas, but I never used to write them down until this year. And I'm glad I did, because I just learned a lesson this year that never keep something later, because I kept oh my god. Okay, next one. How do you select the names of your characters? That's an easy question. All you have to do is say, take a person out of real life, then add a few extra bits to them. Suppose I make a character called, I'll take Lucy Whitmore for this. I gave her red hair, 3 eyes, etc. And I just made a small name like Lucy, and then I thought about surnames and I got it, Whitmore. Now, mainly people think you can make characters by just taking a few people, bunching up their images, making them into a new person. Well, that's a little different than I did. Okay. No more questions. Okay, now I'm pleased to announce that my next book will be shortly coming in July. Now, it's called The Lockdown Diaries, maybe. The Diaries of Zoe, Julie and Star. And it's about the lockdown, how it affected pets, people, etc. Now, pets also feel human feelings, right? Sad, happiness, angriness. Now, they do show that, right? But in this diary, it's different. The pets write their own entries, telling them how they feel about the lockdown, and when their owner shortly gets COVID, no end to their sadness. Now, the main characters are Star and Zoe. Now, you can guess why I kept my book to come in July. because the dog's name is July. Okay. Now Zoe is July and Star's owner, and let's just say they are her companions throughout life. Now, when she goes to the hospital, how do you think the pets would feel? Sad. They would maybe reject the food. Well, you'll have to find out in the next book. Okay, so is there any questions? Wait. There's one. How many hours a day do you write? Okay. Sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. I don't know. Because once I start writing, I have so many distractions. It takes a lot of time to write the whole chapter. What do you owe the real people? Let's just say inspiration. Wait, there's one question I didn't answer. It's from there's no question. Okay. Now, for those of you who, wait, what? Do you? Okay, now if you want to know why book writing is intense, a little intense, let's just say. Well, book writing is like you have to finish the whole book, and it might even take months, years maybe. Well, book writing can be easy if you try and do one chapter a day. That's what I did for mine. Well, if you do one chapter a day, it will if you are aiming for 20 or maybe even 10 chapters, it will take the exact amount of chapters and the exact amount of days to finish. Wait, is there any questions? Okay. Now, let's give some tips. Now, tips are I'm going to give you one huge tip that will change the world. Now, you know the phrase I told you about earlier? You reap what you sow. Well, that could be it's just what a book is about. You sow a few concepts, you water it up, you give more concepts to it, you get the fruit, and that fruit is your book.
Okay, question is, do you relate your character in the book?
Well, I don't, but I think a few characters might have got my Ben and Jimmy, pranks are my favorite thing. Then I think Samantha just got my boldness and angriness. And Lucy, garden love. That's what. And Becca, I don't know, but I think she got the leader qualities. That's all. Any more questions?
How many unpublished or half-finished books do you have?
Well, now half finished is the one I told you about, the Lockdown Diaries. And published is only one, The Mysterious Eight and the Hope Diamond Adventure. What? Well, now after this Lockdown Diaries, I'm planning to do the Mysterious Eight second part. It will be just as amazing as the first part, except more characters will come. Do you ever wonder why I haven't let anyone glimpse the evil villains, or as you may call them, criminals in the story? Well, let's just say if they did, they'd be aware of them, they'd not take that too seriously. But Jimmy and Tam only saw the two halves of that tattoo. Now that tattoo will be a clue in the next book. Now I write poems too. The one I gave in Facebook is called The Phoenix. And it's just about a phoenix, how its life goes, how it sees the world through its eyes, how it plays its games of immortality, and how it dies, how it works, like that. Any more questions? Is there any more questions? Okay, thanks a lot for watching. And what? And you? Amazon. Yeah. My book is in Amazon and it's in Kindle Unlimited as well. It's present as an ebook, and you may those of you who saw it before April 30th, there's a new version of my book and it's error free. Okay? Thanks for watching. Bye.